That's a deal. On both sides, they felt it should be. Now, like President Ronald Reagan before me, I support the 3 exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. And I will say that in terms of...
Bro, you calling him bitch flashback me to times where he was the president and you would get so annoyed since you've been only making fun of him since then? Yeah, because he has no power. This is the perfect Trump. When he has literally 0 power and he's just talking shit like a television guy. That's my favorite Trump. Trump on Twitter with Twitter fingers and no actual like bully pulpit or no actual serious power that comes from being in office is great. He's content, he's great, he's catty, he's bitchy, he's sassy.
Put him in an office.
He's got a lot of charisma. It's awesome.
I don't know.
Trump with actual power, on the other hand, that's like enacting incredibly cruel legislation, not so great. It is very frustrating.
To do it, it would not have been good. But he said, yes, the baby's born, and then we sit down and we talk to the mother, and we decide whether or not we essentially terminate the baby's life. This is a baby born, and they have that too. Numerous states that you can kill the baby after birth. So they're the extremists, not us. You have to fight that issue differently. A lot of Republicans, a lot of House members, they weren't able to talk about the issue. They didn't know how. They didn't say that
this is the weakest way to defend an incredibly unpopular thing that happened in America that is like probably the pivotal issue for this election cycle, Roe v. Wade. I've said this already. He needs to workshop this. It's so bad.
Rebuilt the U.S. military.
It is such a bitch-made way to defend, like to try and have your cake.
I don't really use that.
On the one hand,
I feel like,
oh yeah, the abortion thing, I did that, and also simultaneously not standing by it, and basically saying, but I did it for you, so you could have the conversation about abortion, as though like abortion bans have not already immediately been implemented.
People are obsessed with like the idea of raising the bar,
or additional laws that came out.
They don't exactly teach that in school.
People's lives, a living.
At least not a lot of schools.
He's just such a bitch for that. But also, I don't think politically it's a good way to bring this issue up. And even
so, it's just it almost feels like
that
as these people filter into like hiring positions and these things,
also,
these guys are the guys looking for it.
By anyone.
You know what I mean?
Even Joe Brandon would cook him on that. If that's his counter, if that's his defense for abortion.
Who want to take your money and destroy your lives. I will end the disaster known as Bidenomics, which shall henceforth be defined as inflation, submission, and failure. We will turn around our economy very, very quickly. I will cancel every Biden regulation that's harming Alabama workers and workers all over the United States. One of the first things that I will do to help the great people of Alabama is to approve a 6-lane I-65 from Huntsville to Mobile. I heard Huntsville to Mobile, and I heard, some of your great congressmen who I introduced. All of your congressmen, everyone have endorsed me. It's such an honor. But I said, what can I do for this great state? You can make a 6-laner. Does everyone agree that's a big deal? Yeah? Okay. We'll get that done on the first day, okay? First day. I'll bring down the cost of energy, and we will become energy independent and even energy dominant, just as we were 3 years ago. We were going to supply all of the energy to Europe. Oil and gas, we were going to make so much money, then we were going to start paying down debt. You ever look at the balance sheet of Saudi Arabia? We have more oil than they do. We have more oil than Russia has. I got Anwar approved. No president could get that done. Ronald Reagan tried. They all tried. I got it done. The first thing that Biden did is he ended it. Anwar in Alaska, probably the largest site for oil anywhere in the world. I will reverse every one of Biden's globalist economic betrayals to once again put America first and put Alabama first. We're going to put Alabama first where it should be. And unlike Ron DeSanctimonious, who voted to gut Medicare, can you believe that? And also voted 3 times to decimate a thing called Social Security, and also to raise the retirement age on Social Security.
Alabama's
My elbow
already
was
number
lifted
one
too
at cousin
quickly.
fucking, and also number one at having the worst education.
But we can do a lot of
Almost
things that
didn't
you
feel
won't
it for a
be
second
feeling,
there.
but you can't play with Social Security and Medicare. But we will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors. Not going to touch it. And you saw that because we didn't touch it. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office shortly after
Trump's
we win
political
the presidency,
instincts
because we are going to win
still
it.
pretty
I
good.
will have the horrible war between Russia.
Talking about fucking, attacking Ron DeSantis for wanting to cut Social Security. It's great instincts overall. American politics is very different than where it was under the Obama
prevent
administration.
World War III. And don't kid yourself, we're a lot closer to it than you think. A lot closer. And that would be a war like no other, because we wouldn't have army tanks going back and forth shooting. They have nuclear. The levels of power are not to be believed. To stop the destruction of our
I
wealth,
talked about
I will
computing
impose
power
a
earlier
border
on
tariff
stream.
on all foreign-made goods. You
I think I mentioned casually,
just want to sell into our country.
that
You're
I've
gonna
heard
have to
that
pay
we've
for
been at
that.
war,
It's a great privilege that we do that.
collecting cyber turf
We get hurt so
against
bad in
China
this trade. I made so many great
since
trade
at
deals,
least the
including with
1990s.
Japan and South Korea, and by the way, China for our farmers and manufacturers, $50 billion a year. I don't even talk
Well, at
about
least since
that
the
because
1990s.
of
I
what
don't
they
say
did
at
with
least
COVID.
usually.
I will also pass what we call the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. In other words, if China or any other country makes us pay a 100% or 200% tariff, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff of 100% or 200% right back.
That was for what I said. Not
And one of two things will happen. They'll end their tariff,
Just
which
checking
in
what was
most
going on.
cases will happen, or we'll take in a lot of money, and so will they, but we'll take in a lot of money. Can you imagine? They charge us 100% tariffs and 200% tariffs, and for the same product, we charge them nothing. And we were all set to get that done and approved, and then COVID came in, and we had other things to do, but we're going to get that done. Reciprocal. It's got to be reciprocal. We will gain total independence from China, and I will hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable for unleashing the China virus upon the world.
I understand the tone of voice.
You know,
like
it's
maybe like a
estimated they can't
recitation.
pay it. Nobody can pay it. $60 trillion in damages.
Yeah, right there. Give me a little aura too.
The death, the millions and millions of people all over the world, the damage they did. And I always said it came from the Wuhan lab, and it did. It came from the Wuhan lab. They said the other day, Trump was right about that.
Wuhan
Trump was right
lab.
about everything, actually. I will immediately terminate every open borders policy of the Biden administration. What's happening on our border? What's happening on our border is unthinkable. We had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the most unsafe border, I think, anywhere in the world. There's never been anything like it. No third world country would have a border like that. They'd fight people with sticks and stones if they had
The
to.
lab leak isn't even
Under
a
Biden,
medical,
other
scientific
countries are
community thing.
emptying
It
out
doesn't
their
matter.
prisons and
Plenty of
insane
fucking
asylums.
liberals also claim it's a lab leak as well now.
Everyone, including
Wow.
terrorists.
He's
into
not
the
even
United
alone on
States
that.
of
Like a
America.
lot of
Many
people say it's a
terrorists are
lab leak.
coming
It's a
in.
good anti-Chinese
Their
way
prisons
to
are
run with
emptied
it.
out, emptying out
It's
all
a
over
theory,
the world,
just
not
like
just the
zoonotic
3 or 4
spread.
countries that we consider more or less neighbors.
Brian Grimm is like
I
a
know that's-
proponent of it too, which
No,
is
Guatemala's
interesting.
very-
But what are you
very
gonna
small
do?
prison population. El Salvador, very small. Mexico, very small. They're emptying them out.
Saying
There
a
was
lot.
a
I mean, it's
psychiatrist who's been
it's
at a
just
certain
the really
South
convenient
American
thing to
country
say
for
when
many
there's
years,
already
running a
like
big
Holy
state-funded
shit,
espionage.
dude.
I don't know.
Kai Cenat is being charged with inciting a riot,
Skeptical.
unlawful
I'm
assembly,
skeptical.
and more. He will be charged with multiple counts after a video game giveaway led thousands of people to overrun Union Square Park on Friday. Police say he will be charged with at least 2 counts of inciting a riot, unlawful assembly, among others. During an evening brief, authorities said 64 people were arrested, including 30 juveniles. 30 juveniles were arrested. The event was unpermitted, not sanctioned, and grew rapidly to thousands of young people who NYPD Chief Department Jeffrey Maddie said attacked officers instead of complying with orders to leave. The chief implored parents to step in. I had thousands of kids out there. I needed thousands of parents, Madry said. When it gets to the point where it's disorderly, we want the parents to come and take control. 3 officers were injured during the mayhem, 2 of which were taken to a nearby hospital. 1 sergeant suffered a broken hand. What did he do? He fucking beat someone? He beat a teenager and broke his hand. Over the last few days, Synap, one of the most popular streamers of the video game streaming website Twitch. No! It was YouTube. You guys were saying he was a YouTuber, and that was fine. Don't do the... No, he's a YouTuber, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's so Jover. Bro, Trump is going to get time before... No, he's not. Kai is not going to get time before Trump. I don't know what the charges are. I don't think...
zoning out of the
I don't know how bad...
Forgetting the entire China statement, which is ridiculous.
What it would look like after a plea
Because, like, I
bargain.
routinely, like, remember that much people say.
You Twitch streamers looking pretty sus? No.
That's how I pass classes so easily. I don't have to study too much because I just... I play
Anyway,
it
over
back
the
and
last
then I
few
write
days,
it
Snap,
down,
one of
and
the
then the
most
brain
popular
does
streamers
its
of the video game
magic.
website. Thousands of people showed up and took over the park and roads bordering it as police struggled to contain them. Just before 5 p.m., police had gained the upper hand on the crowd as many people began to disperse. NYPD sources told Eyewitness News they did not want to arrest people and they did not want to escalate the situation further. Cap. Despite that guidance, Eyewitness News observed several arrests made as prisoners were loaded onto an MTA bus. I personally observed young people walking out with their heads, bleeding from their faces. I personally observed young people having panic attacks, anxiety attacks, asthma attacks. People were suffering out here. It was a lot of people. It was uncontrolled. It took us a while to get it under control, and a lot of young people got hurt, Madry said.
And they
Bro,
dilated my eyes just... I wish I had the eye cam working, but I can't...
65
Let me think
young
about
people.
that. I need to think about that today. I have some broken glasses, actually.
It's like, one thing that we love to do when, people are being hurt is like, well, where's our piece? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need a...
It's a Class A misdemeanor in New York State? Okay. NYPD has recovered evidence on social media that Synap was out of his vehicle and interacted with a large crowd before he left Union Square. Detectives are currently questioning him, but no determination has been made onto whether charges will be filed.
Okay. Well, the
To
machine
gain the
thinks
upper
it's
hand on the
apparent.
mob, the NYPD flooded the scene and
I
pushed the crowd
think
away, making sure they
that
didn't come back
my
towards
best
Union
bet
Square.
is probably, like...
Robert Boyce, former NYPD chief of detectives, said
the
that it's important to understand that the
actual,
streams of kids running away from
law
people,
enforcing body
they
that
could
has
create mayhem
jurisdiction
somewhere
over
else.
this.
They have to be followed. He added, "This is
Letting
by a
me
long
know
shot. There's a lot of work
what's
ahead."
going
Holy
on.
Fuck. They're like, there's a lot
I'll
of work
wait
ahead.
until the speech is about the thing.
We are gonna
Like
be
I kind
arresting
of get how
12-year-old
this works.
in
Like
5
enough
boroughs.
enough
Do you
to
understand
like
me?
understand this attack doesn't make sense.
I'm sorry. We have to follow these children.
My flock, dude. I gotta
Did you
be
see
a
Kai's
good person
statement?
for these people.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
It feels so bad.
Stop.
What is that? I don't know. I think he's alright. I think he's okay. I do
Upon
that.
arriving over the scene, Eyewitness News reporter Shannon Son in Newscopter 7
think
reported
it's
seeing groups of
alright.
police officers holding up pieces of plywood and taking cover behind cars that were struck on the 14th Street because of the crowd as they were pelted by objects thrown from the massive people. There was construction happening near the 14th Street subway station, and people in the crowd had grabbed and were...
Alright, just to address the allegations. I understand that I might have expressed some intellectually elitist sentiments at one point or another in the time that I've been assaulted by this thing without having to elaborate too much. My understanding of the situation is that people are unhappy with me doing this because this thing controlling my muscles and like replacing words in my brain and like stopping me from accessing my memory freely has put me in some pretty high stress situations where I run my mouth a little faster than I can pick my words, and it will try to replace words at point of contact. Like as I am setting out the activation markers in my brain, and my brain is deciding how to go about this. Something happens. It replaces it with another word. I know how my like paranoia works. I know how like my inner voice or like my like critical voice works. I understand like